Hey everyone, Kay White with Girls in Finance. Hope you're doing okay on this. It's actually been raining here. So I am going to continue with, I want to say, what day is it that we were? Well, it's related to each day of the week. We've been going live for the 31 days of May, and today is the 8th. So this must be day 8. And I've been covering various topics related to finances, and we'll continue that today. I thought today I'm going to talk about debt. Yes, that big D word. And I want to talk about debt and stress. I understand debt and stress. I've been there at times in my life, even those of us who have a personal finance background. So don't think that others might not have experienced what you're going through, even if you are learning from so-called experts in the field. And I've learned that many years ago. I would meet so many people that I thought, oh, wow, they've got to have it all together and are managing things well. I learned that lesson many, many years ago when I was counseling people. And to my amazement, a lot of times, the more income they had, the more debt they would carry, the more financial stress they were up under because they were carrying so many toys and tools and just fun things happening in life and not necessarily planning around the large amount of money they might have had. It just seems like the more money you have, the more temptation there is to buy. So that's what this message is about today. We're going to talk a little bit about debt and stress. Back when I was counseling, let's say, for example, it might be an accountant. I'm just using that as an example because I saw this, but sometimes we think, oh well, we know that that person probably has it all under control and everything accounted for, and just don't have the everyday issues and challenges that someone without the expertise that they have might be experiencing. And that's not necessarily true. I found that to be the case time and time again. So don't be too hard on yourself and give yourself some grace, whatever the situation is, but especially if you are dealing with debt, because debt can be challenging to manage at times, and you just never know why a person is experiencing debt. It could be that they've had a financial challenge come into their lives. Sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes they've just stumbled upon the debt over time, just not really paying attention to the amount of expenses they were incurring. And it could be credit card debt, it could be loans, it could be maybe financing cars, just whatever it is. It's all still the same. And just something to be aware of. Not all debt is bad. If you have a plan in place and you are working towards a goal, and I'm trying to think of an example of a good debt. Oh, well, actually, we look in terms of a home as being an asset, but for some people, they might consider it actually a debt as well. Maybe they're in over their head, or maybe they're just trying to manage things. Maybe things were going smoothly and then life happened. Maybe a divorce occurred, or maybe a job loss happened, and now they find themselves overextended. And so while the home might have started out as an asset or a good debt, it became more of a challenge, and it created a situation for them that now they've just got to pay off. They just want to get out of this big expense that they have. So I'm saying to you, whatever life situations are happening, or if something happens in the future, don't be too hard on yourself. But I encourage you to start now, whatever the situation is, whether it's good or bad or indifferent. Start thinking about things that you can do today to improve tomorrow. How can you manage the potential of a life change or circumstance? We talked a few days ago about establishing an emergency fund, and that is something that would come into play if something unexpected did happen. But beyond that, just come up with a strategy for getting rid of, paying off debt as much as you can. If it means increasing your income with part time income, one of the most amazing things that I'm finding and experiencing myself is the ability to create supplemental income with digital products, and using this as a strategy to come up with more income to help you pay off your debt. So that's another option. Really starting to look at even AI in this world of artificial intelligence as a way for you to build up more additional income. So there's always an opportunity to increase income. You just got to be creative and think outside of the box. I've always been one of those people who always come up with all these ideas. It's to me, it seems like there's always an opportunity for making income. I walk outside the door and I think in terms of, okay, what are some things that I see right in front of me that presents an opportunity to increase income? And certainly something that comes to mind is just lawn care services, things like that. If you are trying to come up with something quickly, that's just an example of if you walk out the door and you're looking at all the things in your surroundings. One of the quickest and fastest ways to increase income is to do something generally in the area of lawn care. But that's what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to just share a little information about dealing with debt and making an effort to pay off larger amounts of debt that you have and changing your situation. And even if that means starting a second job, or again, creating supplemental income by creating more digital products and looking for opportunities where you can sell online, places like Etsy. And speaking of Etsy, I have an Etsy store called Girls in Finance. And so we have some great digital products there. And there are many other opportunities and things that you can do. I even sell on Amazon, for example. And so you have that as an option through their KDP program, where you can create even lively and wonderful books on various subjects. It's just think about what it is that you're good at and what information you have within yourself. And it might be a children's book, children's affirmation books, a series. There's just so many ways and so many things that you can do. So don't limit yourself, and just think about ways that you can get away from the stress and free yourself from any stress that you might be under. Just look at, how can I overcome this load of debt that I have, and get my mind free and get clear, and get to a place that I want to be. Setting goals for yourself and just taking it one step at a time to eliminate debt. When we talked about credit cards a few days ago, that's one of the things I talked about too, just ways of eliminating credit card debt, paying off the larger balances first or paying off the higher interest credit cards first. I always like to give people options and tell you that you know your situation better than anyone else. So think in terms of that. Ideally, if you have high interest credit cards, you want to focus on paying those off. But just make sure whatever you're doing works for you. And I say that because you might have a high credit card, a high interest credit card, but it might be a small balance. And so you might have this big, larger balance that you really know that you want to focus on and get rid of it, then do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Establish for yourself what is a good plan of action when you start looking at ways to combat outstanding debt that you have. I hope I've shared some interesting information with you on just kind of managing your debt. I'm looking at a book that I wrote during COVID. It's called 52 Weeks of Financial Awareness for Young Adults. And I'm just kind of looking at the debt management section to see if there's anything else that I want to share with you about just kind of strategizing to pay off your debt. And we've talked before that about if your income is just not at a level to conquer the amount of debt that you have, then you know you've got to do something to start increasing your income. And those are usually the options. You've got to either increase your income or reduce your expenses for those monthly budgeted items. But when you throw debt in there, that's when things start to become more challenging. And depending on the type of debt that you have, you might be able to get a lower interest, zero interest. You might be able to get a credit card, if it's credit card debt, get one with a long payment period at a low interest rate, a starter rate, or 0% interest rate. And so that's something for you to keep in mind as you're working with the debt and trying to pay it off. And so I want to say that that is all that I have today. I'm just kind of looking through the book to see if there's something else that I want to share with you about a debt management strategy. I kind of summed it up real quickly. And if at worst comes to worst and you find that you really need some additional help, you can always contact a credit counseling agency. You just have to be careful and make sure wherever you go that it's a reputable organization. So just kind of check them out through the Better Business Bureau and make sure that wherever you consider there, you don't see a lot of complaints. Um, Back in the past, a lot of the credit counseling agencies were through something called the let's see, something called the National Foundation for Consumer Credit. Now that's changed now. Now they changed their name, I believe, to the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, but they will assist you with whatever type of debt that you might be facing challenges with paying off. And so keep that in mind. And you can do it yourself. I always tell people that. But if you find that you really need to talk with someone and you need additional help, then do that. Go and talk with someone, sit down, and just get some good advice about paying off existing debt that you have. Debt consolidation. I'm looking through my book here just to kind of remind myself of just some good strategies and tips that I can share with you. And one possibility is a consolidation. If you feel like you would benefit from a debt consolidation loan, then that might be an option. Maybe you have a few higher interest loans and you believe that you can consolidate them under one to get a better, a lower payment as well as a lower interest. That is a possibility, but you just talk with someone, and I would say just, hear what type of advice they might offer you. Do your own research too. I always encourage people to do that. Make sure you're working with a credible organization, very, I would say reputable, and just look and see what type of reviews they might have. Again, go to the Better Business Bureau and check there as well. And I want to say that's all that I'll share with you today. We'll talk about this subject more, I'm sure, in the future. I hope this has been helpful. And that is it for today. And just one other little thing, just try to stay on top of your dates, your payment dates. Make sure that you're paying by the payment due date. That's just to help you at the same time while you're paying off existing debt. It'll help you with building your credit as well. So, because all of that information is being reported, late payments and or missed payments, any of those are something to consider. And I believe that's all that I have for you today on this topic. And I'm gonna share this with you real quick. This is something that I wrote in the book, and I believe in this. It was intended to be just a little fun thing, but it's the truth too. It says stop shopping until you have paid off existing debt. You will likely free up funds you can put towards getting rid of balances that you have outstanding. So here it says get rid of credit card balances, but whether it's credit cards or some other debt, look for ways that you can really curb spending until you get to the place where you want to be, and make a target goal for that. And let's see. And here I challenge readers to make cash only purchases to avoid adding more debt. Now, that's a really good tip if you can do that. I just encourage you to just try to curb your spending as you're working on paying off debt. So I hope this has been helpful. Trying to keep it a little fun as well. And that is all that I have for you today. Come up with a strategy. You can do it. I believe in you. I've helped other people make progress with coming out of debt in the past. And I just encourage you to hang in there and don't be too hard on yourself. Come up with a strategy and a plan. You can do it, especially in this AI world. You can do it. There's so many ways to increase income using AI. The one that always comes to mind for me is starting something as simple as a resume writing business. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. You can use Chat GPT and other resources. It doesn't mean that you completely rely on these resources, but you use them as a tool to assist you with whatever services that you want to offer. Okay, so that is all I have for you today. It's Kay White with Girls in Finance, and I'm gonna just share my book so you can see it and see the name of it. It's called 52 Weeks of Financial Awareness for Young Adults. And if you buy it, let me know, and I hope it's helpful. And just let me know if you have any questions about it as well. Take care. It's been fun. I'll see you next time.